Alongside Graham DeLaet and Bob Weeks, before we get to the glory of Sunday, let's go back to Thursday, which feels like forever ago with all the rain delays and the cold. And on the very first hole, Jon Rahm is on in 2 and 4 putts and makes double, which felt like big trouble and would have rattled a lot of guys. And it just felt like it calmed and propelled Rahm. How?
Well, you know, he came into this tournament off some pretty poor performances. He was tied for 39th at the Arnold Palmer. He had to withdraw from the Players due to illness. He was not out of the match play group bracket. So we didn't know what was going on. And all of a sudden this 4-putt steps up and you think to yourself, my gosh, this guy really isn't playing all that well. But if you're going to make a 4-putt and you're going to make a double bogey, then certainly the first hole is the place to do it. You got 71 more to catch up.
Absolutely. And not only did he have that 4-putt, remember on the second tee, he hit his tee shot way left, thought he lost it, got a break, and just went on from there. You still have to play terrific golf, though, and he wakes up on Sunday morning in his 4 back of Brooks Koepka. How did he turn that into a decisive win?
Well, he made it easy on himself, mostly by driving the golf ball in the fairway and long, too. We saw an 11 and 13, 2 of the longest tee shots of the day on each of those holes, dead center. He just hit quality shots when he needed to. I think that one on 14 right here is when, to me, that's when the tournament was kind of over. And the up and downs and the par putts, the timely saves, it was just, he was in control.
He was in control of every part of his game, and you can look at what he did on that 13th, on that tee shot there. He normally hits a cut, a left to right shot. On that hole, of course, it dog legs right to left, but he went up there and hit it right to left, and that put him in position, great position, 6-iron into the green, makes the birdie.
The other part that might be forgotten is Saturday morning, the conclusion of round 2. He was on the worst side of the draw. Half the field out finishing their round in the worst conditions possible. Most guys struggling, and he was 1 under for his last holes that he played that day. So he hung around and then got the sunshine and the victory on Sunday. I think a couple of things surprised us about Brooks Koepka this week. First, the way he played the first 36 and really 54 holes, which we hadn't seen in a long time. This guy was in the abyss for the last 2 years, even though he won on the LIV Tour last week. And then he had that swagger back. Were you surprised at how poorly he played on this day for a guy who'd closed out the last 3 majors that he led after 54 holes?
Yeah, this is a guy that's not scared of the lead, without question. But that swagger that he had, he didn't quite have that today. It looked like he was just kind of annoyed with himself, and the way that he was playing was just kind of one of those days. We heard him say that it was just like things weren't really happening. But it all started off the tee for him, pretty much the opposite of Jon Rahm. We talked about how well he drove it. He got in trouble a lot of times off the tee. This is him at the 6, hit it over the back of the green, was not able to get up and down. And that was the other thing. Around the greens today, lost shots to the field, and you can't do that and win a green jacket.
I think the one thing, too, is that those putts that were going in for him the first few days, those momentum putts, as he called them, he wasn't able to make those, the ones that were for par saves. He went 22 holes at one point from the 3rd round into the 4th round without making a birdie, and when you total up, he's 3 over par. That's one of the worst scoring rounds of the top 30 players on the leaderboard. So he just, whatever he had in those first few days, just evaporated.
Maybe the most shocking story of the week is Phil Mickelson, because when he won the PGA at 50, that was something else. But after the last 2 years of the controversy and going to LIV and the way he was playing this year, he was in 42nd place on the LIV Tour out of 48 players. His world ranking had fallen to 425th. There were 0 signs whatsoever that this was coming, and yet there he was in contention on Sunday afternoon.
Amazing to be 52 years old on this golf course. He's won here 3 times. He loves this place. He knows how to play it. And he had a good pairing today, too, playing with Jordan Spieth. They were both making tons of birdie, both making runs. You're kind of feeding off each other, but an amazing performance by Lefty.
He's played 114 rounds at the Masters. This equals the lowest round that he had. The last time he shot 65 was back in 1996. I mean, this is perhaps the round of the tournament, in my opinion, in some ways. What he did was, as you said, so unexpected and so dominant. It was pretty impressive.
Best finish ever by a 50-plus player at the Masters. And though Greg Norman doesn't get his LIV player winning, this was, whether you like the players or not, this was a good week for LIV with Mickelson and Koepka and Patrick Reed all in the running. But on Sevy's birthday, it's Jon Rahm taking home his first green jacket and taking back the #1 ranking in the world.